The first time I came to LA in the early 80s, my eyes were out on stalks because I just thought, this is so exciting, this is so sexy, this is so energetic, this town is so up for whatever you want to do with it. How I came to write the thing was like this. Unhappy love affair. I go back to England, I meet a friend of mine who is the editor of a very prestigious literary magazine called Granta. He now works for the New Yorker. I'm telling him this story, this heartfelt story of this girl I loved and lost in LA. And he said to me, "Richard, you talk about your life as though it were a Marx Brothers movie." He's running a funeral business in Bradford, which is also another part of my autobiography. We took that detail from my father ran a funeral business in Bradford. So we thought, okay, well, wouldn't it be neat if Richard in the story was actually running a funeral business in Bradford? One of the things that Mika and I had to address when we were thinking about, well, what to do with the book is, you know, do you leave it back then in the early 80s, the early and mid 80s, which is the period of the novel, which was essentially a very, very optimistic time in LA, or do you bring it forward to the 90s and you deal with the fact that Los Angeles is really a much darker place now than it was back then? You know, we've had the riots, we've had the earthquake, we know that the kind of dream doesn't quite exist in the way that even in '84 people were believing that it was possible to kind of just do anything here. One of the things that I have found very refreshing about the casting of the film is that you have these two less well-known actors surrounded by pretty well-known actors, and I thought that that was something that was very true to the book and then what we tried to do with the script. LA is the Gatsby of American cities. People come here and put on ridiculous suits and drive ridiculous cars and do ridiculous things. That if you're lucky, you can just make that connection, and it might be the right woman, it might be the right deal, and you immediately go right to the top of the heap. And, you know, that does happen.